This is 80s Revisited. I'm your producer, Jesse Sedgley. And now, your host, Trey Harris.
There's a legend round here. A killer buried, but not dead. A curse on Crystal Lake. A death curse. Jason Voorhees' curse.
Yeah, I remember that.
They say he died as a boy, but he keeps coming back.
To listen to the 80s Revisited podcast on his birthday on a Friday the 13th, which is not right now for us, but quite possibly for you.
Yeah, we might run into it.
Yeah, maybe. If our track record lately has been anything to...
Yeah, East Coast for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back, everybody. I, of course, am your host, the not-so-silent Trey Harris. With me, as always, the hockey mask to my disfigured, horrible, undead face, Jesse Sedgley.
Yes, I am.
And, of course, you might come back like, oh, ready for the next round of the death match. But no, it's a holiday. A big holiday. Not the man in the red suit with the white beard, but the man in the dead suit with the hockey mask.
Yes.
Friday the 13th. Every Friday the 13th, we are covering a Friday the 13th film. And we only got one left after this one in the 80s, because then the series went on and jumped ship to the 1990s. So
this is the farewell.
Well, there's Jason Takes Manhattan. You got that one on the next Friday the 13th, which, like two Friday the 13ths ago, I listed the dates for them, so I don't remember when the next one is. But nevertheless, I like to be here talking about Friday the 13th because it's one of my favorite franchises. And it's quintessential 80s horror, which is all about, this podcast is all about, especially the 80s part, but also the horror part, because horror is pretty cool. But anyway, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, opened May 13th, a Friday, 1988. IMDb gave it a 5.3. Rotten Tomatoes, 32%. Critics, 37% audience. So people really didn't like this one. And to this day, it's pretty divisive, even among fans of the series as well. $2.8 million estimated budget, opened at 8.2, so it made its money back, almost 4 times its budget back in the opening weekend. Domestically went on to gross 19.1, so it still made a shit ton of money. It's still a profitable series. Now, it didn't make the numbers that some of the previous installments had, because last week, but last Friday the 13th that we covered, Part 6, was the first one that had the downward trend in terms of it didn't make as much as its predecessor. So basically at this point, the series financially peaked at 5. So, which is still, again, speaking of divisive entries in the series, probably none are more divisive than Part 5. But anyway, couldn't find any information on worldwide or rentals, but it had to make several million more in the rentals on top of the 19.1, but nevertheless couldn't find any information. It was directed by the late, and as far as special effects go, great, John Carl Buechler. Directing-wise, he also did the original Troll, not the more appreciated Troll 2, because of its... Well, you just have to watch it.
Right.
He also directed...
For the stellar acting.
Exactly. They're eating her! And now they're going to eat me!
Oh my God.
Yeah. If you listen to this podcast, I'm sure you know what we're talking about. But anyway, he also directed 3 episodes of Land of the Lost and not too much else of note. However, he is a well-established special effects guru, might be a good word to use. But he did pass away last year. We have mentioned him several times on the podcast. He's done some effects for several movies that we've covered. But he did the effects for Hatchet, also starring Kane Hodder from this one, who... Kane Hodder is Jason because of John Carl Buechler. He saw him in a movie that he did before this one called Prison, and the story goes that in prison, Kane had ate some worms for the role or whatever, and that impressed John Carl Buechler. Oh, you ate worms, you could be Jason Voorhees.
Oh, that's all it takes.
Because then worms will eat you, and then you become, because you're undead. But he did, like I said, did special effects for Hatchet, Ghoulies, Garbage Pail Kids, the movie, which I hate to mention because it sucks, but also Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and Halloween 4. So he has done the effects for all 3 of the major 80s horror franchises and Hatchet, which was, definitely a modern day throwback to those slashers of yore. So Rest in peace. You did a good job, my friend. It was written by Daryl Haney and Manuel Fidello. Nothing else of note. I wonder why.
No.
Cinematography was by Paul Elliott. He also did 976 Evil and My Girl 2. So really not much of note there either, to be honest. And the cinematography it isn't bad in this film, but it's basic for what it is. There's nothing unique about it. Like, some of the other entries had some really interesting cinematography, some great stuff, moments, I should say. This one, this one's all about the effects for me. We'll get into that in just a minute. Starring the lovely, I think, not so much in this film, but she aged like a fine wine, Lar Park Lincoln as Tina. She was also in House 2, my favorite in that series, and one episode of Freddy's Nightmares. So she kind of crossed over with Freddy and Jason. And keep that dynamic in mind, because although this isn't Freddy versus Jason, that's very important to the genesis of this film. Kevin, go back to the movie, because I think I typed his name wrong here. Kevin Blake. No, it is Spiritus. Okay, but on the credits it said Blake or something. Okay.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, on the credits of the film that we were literally just watching. Let's double check. Lar Park Lincoln, which we mentioned.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Blair. Okay.
He got married.
Well, okay. Well, in fact, that is a completely random ass segue into something about this film that will interrupt our, the who part of the who, what, when, where, and why. Because this film's also considered Friday the 13th.
Oh.
And the reason that is because a lot of the cast was gay. Oh. Now, of course, that has no effect on the film or anything like that. So you actually could be right.
Started his career as a stage actor on Broadway. Just saying.
There's a parallel there. That you could call it a stereotype, but it's. Oh, here we go. His birth name was Kevin Blair Spiritus, so he basically went as Kevin Blair, and then he decided to use his
son of Arnold Spiritus. So
yes,
not through marriage.
That guy. Okay, never mind. It could have been. Still made a good segue.
Unless his father also got married to a guy named
Spiritus. Spiritus, who knows what it is.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, this film is
Spiritus.
It's not
Spiritus.
like Nightmare 2 to where it has
Commander
blatantly
Key.
gay overtones or subtext. The most blatant subtext that's completely obvious. Not so much here, but I get that information for this one from Hello Nicolas.
Yeah.
From the incredible documentary on the series Crystal Lake Memories. It's like a 6-hour, 8-hour documentary, something like that, but it is fantastic. If you love 80s horror, if you like the franchise, the cool thing is the Friday series has one, Crystal Lake Memories, and then the Nightmare series has one with Never Sleep Again that covers every movie, everybody from all the actors, all the main people are there, interviews, so both of those documentaries are exhausting. I wish we had one on the entire Halloween series at that level, but nothing yet. So maybe one day. So that would be great. But anyway, continue on with the cast, because we'll be Kevin Spiritus or Kevin Blair, depending on which one you want to call him.
Right.
He was Nick, but he's also, I know him because I've told the story before. When I worked with my parents while I was going to school, college, our office was in the back of the house. So at lunchtime, we would just walk to the house and we just have lunch. We'd sit, watch TV, and eat lunch.
Yep.
And during the middle of the day, the only thing on television in that day and age was soap operas. So I was very schooled and knowledgeable of Days of Our Lives and Bold and the Beautiful, which the second I saw this dude show his face on Days of Our Lives, I'm like, what's the dude from Friday the 13th Part 7? So he was on there for a good long time. He was also he did some bit parts, nothing, really major or starring in aside from this for the most part. At least that's well known, et cetera, et cetera. But not a bad actor, I'd say. I mean, he's definitely a soap opera caliber actor, much like Rowdy Abilene, Ron Moss from that Hard Ticket to Hawaii. But anyway, probably the most notable person that starred in this film is Terry Kaiser. And most people do not know him from this film, but know him from unfortunately not a trilogy, or thankfully not a trilogy, a duology of Weekend at Bernie's. He was Bernie. So he got famous literally pretty much doing nothing, just
of course,
being a puppet.
That took a lot of work.
Yeah. So that worked for him. But of course, Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2, tons and tons of television. And speaking of the television that Terry Kaiser did, he did an episode of Hardcastle and McCormick. Longtime fans of the podcast know why I mentioned that. Susan Blue was Amanda Shepard. She's probably the second well-known, but nobody knows who she is, actress in this film. Lovely older lady, but she is a major voice actress. She's done everything from she was it was RC in Transformers. OG, she was in the OG Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, Visionaries, Brave Star, Jim, DuckTales. She's done everything. She is sort of a female. What's his name? Peter, the guy that did Megatron, and I'm drawing a blank on his name for some reason. Anyway, that dude.
Yeah, that dude.
I can't think of his name for some reason. Very, very, not prolific is the wrong word. What's the word I'm thinking of? But in demand, I mean, she's been in a ton of shit, basically. Peter Cullen, that's his name.
Okay, I was getting there.
And I'm just thinking, like, I can beat it. I can beat the internet. I can beat it searching. I can find it. But William Butler was Michael. He was also in Night of the Living Dead 1990, the Tom Savini directed remake, which is, if you listen to this podcast, you know how I feel about remakes. The Night of the Living Dead 1990 remake is a pretty good remake. It doesn't have as much social commentary as the original, but it's a great effects film for the time, because it's directed by Tom Savini, and Tom Savini's not considered the godfather of gore, but he's definitely a pioneer of practical effects. He was also in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and The Ginger Dead Man 3. So William Butler was in a Friday movie film, he was in a Chainsaw film, and a Living of the Dead film. So he got some horror credit to his credit too. Stacey Greason was Jane. I only mention her because she also was in Days of Our Lives.
Yeah,
an alumni. John Oaten was John Shepard, uncredited in this film, but he bring him up because he played in some decent stuff. Waterworld, Maverick, and Welcome Back, Kotter. And rhyming with Kotter, you have Hodder, Kane Hodder. This is his first outing, his first appearance, so to speak, to use comic book terms, as Jason Voorhees. He would reprise the role more than any other actor, reprising him in 8, 9, and 10. He also became the main character in the Hatchet series, Victor Crowley. And he also, he's been in Wishmaster as himself, well, not as himself, but, out of makeup. One of the most famous horror icons living today, I'd say, would be Kane Hodder. Absolutely. So, and then Walt Gorney is the narrator that opens this film and opened the podcast. Yeah. And I did not know this, though I was researching this, was that's Crazy Ralph from Friday 1 and 2. You're doomed! You're all doomed! That guy. So if you remember the series, if you go back, that's him doing the narration on this. And so he actually appeared in 3 of them.
Oh.
So I did not know that literally until this film. And if I did hear it in the past, as in the documentary I mentioned earlier, I didn't fucking remember it. So that was interesting. But yeah, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. This is a USA special. I believe Eraserhead was in the 80s, Nicholas. Responding to some comments on the streams if you're listening.
1977.
Oh, never mind.
Pretty close. Yeah, we're responding on twitch.tv/80s Revisited. You can come over here and talk to us live as well.
I was thinking of Elephant Man, David Lynch's, and that's an 80s film. That's Lynch's 80s film, but it's also in black and white, much like Eraserhead. Mm-hmm. Not as disturbing as Eraserhead, but it's one we can cover when we finally get to Lynch, which will be a little while because we already got the next few weeks lined out. But anyway, this Friday the 13th Part 7, and I believe I said on this podcast when we had our Halloween horror, when we did the threes, the trilogies, the big 3, Friday, Nightmare, and Halloween, the threes of each of those in that month. And one of the Back to the Future segment that for those was always like I ranked the best and the worst of the franchise. And I want to say, I didn't go back to verify it, but I think I said in that one that 7, other than the first one, this one was actually my favorite. And since then, I've rewatched all these many more times, et cetera, et cetera. I don't still think that. However, I think this one has the best looking Jason. Some of, pound for pound or kill for kill, the best kills in the series. So that's what led me that conclusion earlier in the series, or in the podcast, I should say, episodes. But it's, 7's definitely, in hindsight, it's one I can put on anytime and be completely content with watching it. Let's watch a Friday movie. Someone puts on 7, I'm not going to complain. I wouldn't complain if you put on practically any of them, except maybe Jason Goes to Hell, simply because Jason's not in it that much. And if somebody says, let's put on a Friday movie or a Jason movie, let's at least put on one that's got some Jason in it, aside from the beginning and the end. Not talking bad about Jason Goes to Hell, because that's a divisive one in the franchise as well, but I ain't going to say I hate it. But that'll be for 90s Revisited, because it doesn't happen in the 80s. Excuse me. But yeah, have you ever seen Part 7?
No. You could safely say I haven't.
Your dad pirating pioneer never went this franchise?
No, mostly Part 1s and 2s.
Hey, well, that's traditionally that tends to be the best, so
yeah.
There's no complaints, no argument there. But yeah, this was one, again, this is a USA late night weekend special. If there was a Friday the 13th that, coming up, like if I still had cable, if USA is still even a channel on cable, because I have no clue, they're probably showing this film tomorrow night.
Yeah.
This was one, I guess it was one of the cheaper ones they had the rights to, networks did, because they always show this one. And pretty much 1, 2, and this one, from my memory, were the ones I would see all the time as a kid on TV. So this one, I saw this one 7 before I saw probably 4, 5, and maybe 4 and 6, maybe, because those really weren't on television too much. Because being born in 80 and growing up practically, literally with these films, because the first one came out in 80, obviously I'm not 1 year old sitting there in the theater like, ooh, so, and of course it's not like today, like my daughter is blessed. She's going to get to watch everything in appropriate order. So when, she won't know that Jason's not the killer, or like she won't know in Friday the 13th Part 2 what the hell's going to happen. She'll have no clue.
Going to give her 80s raising.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. How old are you? You're 4? Let's see what came out in 84. Ooh, Ghostbusters. Let's watch Ghostbusters.
Well, let's say it's 2019, so if you treat this year as 1979, just pick it up whenever.
Yeah, pretty much. Works for me.
Yeah. No, easy to remember.
Because, and then back then, too, like, it's not like today to where if I was a kid today, I could easily go to YouTube, although not for this Part 7, but most films you can find for free on the internet, and kids these days know how to do that. Most streaming services. Well, I know for October, like between Hulu and Netflix, all the Fridays were on there. So, there's ways to watch things appropriately, as opposed to, I've told the story before with Halloween 1. Had to pretty much, I didn't see that one for years after seeing Part 2 every single Halloween for 5 or 6, because USA would play it back to back every year, every Halloween. But anyway, Part 7, this one's interesting because they wanted this one to be Freddy versus Jason. This was the first one, I want to say, done by New Line Cinema. They had the rights. They wanted to do it. So that was kind of the thing. However, red tape, we don't want to do, one person says no, fucks up everything.
Yeah.
So we can't fight Freddy. Carrie. No. But that's what they end up with. Basically, this film is Jason versus Carrie.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Nicholas. Have a good one. Catch the rest of it on here or YouTube, or
thanks for
listen
following.
to the podcast. We'll talk to you next time. But anyway, so yeah, it's basically Jason versus Carrie, which... And that's the reason this entry gets a lot of shit, because it's series when you get this far into them, it's a double-edged sword for whatever you're going to do. For example, Force Awakens comes out. I loved it. Is it similar in plot, in structure and plot, technically to A New Hope? Yeah, right. Don't give a shit. I had a good time. That's also the 7th, 9th if you count the Ewok movies, and who knows what number it is if you count all the other shit in terms of the Star Wars
Christmas
canon.
Special.
Yeah, they keep it timely. So but this is a series. This is a slasher series. So I appreciate that they tried to do something new with it. Mm-hmm. Was it the best place to go? Better than space. Better than Manhattan.
It's been tested.
But that's why I like it's so stupid. First of all, you're watching a movie where there's blatantly this place that if you go to, you are going to get murdered.
Right.
No matter what, people still go back, and
it's their 7th time going back.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you go in to see anything that's part 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, as this series is, you have to have the expectation. First of all, you have to know why you're going to see it. Mm-hmm. And 90% of the people, I would hope, that watch these movies still to this day, such as myself, and a lot of other people, because the series is probably more popular right now than it has been in since Freddy versus Jason, to be honest with you, with the game and just that resurgence of culture. And the remake of this film obviously brought a few years ago. I think that was 10 years ago now. Brought it back to the public eye. And every Friday the 13th, what is Facebook littered with? Memes.
Right.
Oh, it's Friday. Hey, Mike, what day is it? Friday.
Yeah.
Or if there's a Friday the 12th, Facebook is still littered with memes of sad Jason, like, oh, it's Friday the 12th, not the 13th.
They'll work Baby Yoda in there somehow.
Yeah, so eventually, somehow. But it's like, if you're complaining, I understand I understand people that don't like these films, but I also the plot is ludicrous, but also we're talking about a court. What is the formula for every single one of these? Every single Halloween, every single nightmare, practically. Oh, you think they're dead? Just like Scream said it best. Here, this is the part where the killer comes back for one last scare. Ah, no, not in my movie. Which it's meta, it works, but that is the trope of the genre. That's why we watch these movies. That's why we love them. I don't go to see this movie to see how they're gonna I hope these very interesting teenagers, have a story arc and a moral and a morality tale and all this. No, I want to watch Jason kill these assholes in funny and unique ways. Sounds morbid, but I mean that's the fun of these films. So if this film would have been panned had it been just Jason shows back up, there's this legend of Jason Voorhees and he just kills people like normal. They didn't do anything different. Well, every single time a film does something different, they should have just kept it like it was because this is stupid.
Yeah.
But jump in the time machine, Wild Stallions. If you're watching the thing, I'm wearing my Wild Stallions shirt. So if they done it differently, it's more of the same bullshit.
Yeah.
So and again, I understand if you don't like it because you wanted something a little more traditional. Well, this is part 7. And, part 5, like we talked about a couple times ago, actually not earlier this year because of our schedule and how things tended to work out with the number of Friday the 13th this year, it's like 5, they killed Jason in 4. He's done. Oh, we think Jason's back. We don't know what's going on. It's kind of a murder mystery, much like the first one. But it's not Jason. Okay, so now they know Jason Lives, part 6, has to be Jason. That one's tongue-in-cheek and meta. Didn't make as much as part 5 at the box office. But at least in this one, and part 8, part 9, part 10, they did something different. Even Abbott and Costello had to meet Frankenstein and then the Wolfman and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's the Nate when you're everything eventually is going to run out of ideas. Which is why and especially, again, this is part 7. This is 1988. First one came out in 1980. Within 8 years, you got 7 sequels. There's only 2 years in the 80s that did not have a Friday the 13th. And I don't remember them offhand, but I said them on a previous episode, so go listen to it for that fact. Or just Google it. But anyway, so to me, when people are like, oh, that plot is stupid. Nate, is there a Friday the 13th that doesn't have a stupid plot? I mean, if that's your reason, that's all I'm saying. Again, I understand if you don't like it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of Friday the 13th fans hate everything after 4 or 5 because that's zombie Jason. Some people are BJ before, or excuse me, BZJ before zombie Jason and AZJ after zombie Jason. Can't we all just get along? They're all fucking ridiculous and fun and just a damn good time. But again, that's just my poor little opinion here. Cranky old, nearly 40-year-old man.
Cranky old man.
Who grew up on these films and loves them for what they are, not what people think they should be. This isn't meant to be a piece of cinema. Scorsese does not like these things. They're not films. But more people like these. I mean, these are lauded, cherished films for how ridiculous they are. That's the charm of it, to me. So when people are like, oh, it's just stupid because he's fighting a telekinetic character, that's stupid. Dude, he got reanimated by a lightning bolt. He threw a dude's face at a tree and it left a smiley face on the tree. That was, and I like part 6. That's probably my favorite in hindsight because of, it knew what it was. And I think, the Child's Play series is not one of my favorite series. I still enjoy them. I never saw Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky till much later. because I just didn't care for that series. After 1 and 2, like, okay. 3, like, this is just dumb with the doll. My opinion at that point. In hindsight, I love them. But when I went back and watched Bride of Chucky, like, this film knew exactly what it was. It did not try to pretend to be something that it wasn't. It knew, like, this is ridiculous.
It's campy.
So that we embrace it, and it worked. It was fantastic. That's probably my favorite Child's Play film. Again, if you disagree, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because that's your opinion. But anyway, getting back to Friday 13th and keeping it there. Sorry, Ben, I'm getting off my rant. Although that wasn't a CG rant. But anyway, so this one, you basically have a spousal abuser beating his wife. The daughter runs out, because her mom's being beaten, not for the first time by her dad. I'm like, oh, honey, I'm sorry. She goes out on the lake, and then she's, anytime, ever since Scanners and the original Carrie, whenever somebody's doing something with their mind, snaps into their wide open eyes and they're shaking because they're doing something with their mind.
Right.
And the dock collapses and it killed him in the puddle of water. He gets trapped under the dock on the bank and they can't find his body. Although they show it sink right there. Again, just poking fun at, nitpicking. It's silly. Just let it happen. Just go with it, man. Just go with it, dude. And so anyway, then she's traumatized by that, but she has these mental powers. So that's setting it up to where she comes back years later after all the Tommy Jarvis drama on Crystal Lake. And so then she's like, oh, for some reason she gets the idea, I'm going to go out there to that lake and resurrect my father with my psychic powers. Well, honestly, that's not why she goes there and she feels a presence in the lake. Oh, it must be my dad because I basically murdered him here. Wow, snap zoom, eye shaking, concentrating. Uh-oh, it's not her dad, it's Jason Voorhees. Pops up, dramatic fashion, great moment. And she's like, oh shit. Now all the nice people she just met next door are getting slaughtered. Although they're not, none of them, all of them are nice. Because you have a stereotypical character in terms of The Breakfast Club basically next door.
Right, the worst version of The Breakfast Club.
Exactly. So, and then of course, chaos ensues. Fun, hilarious chaos. You get the sleeping bag kill, which is, I think, in our ranking when we did part 3, we ranked the kills in the films, or whichever one we did that in, was like my number 2 after Jason X with not liquid metal, liquid nitrogen. That one. But anyway, so again, Jason supposedly defeated. However, we know that's not the case because this franchise is as resilient as Jason Voorhees, at least still at this point, because there's still 8, 9, 10, where's Jason? Still 4 more to go in total, not counting the remake. 5 more if you want to count the remake. So it's like I said, the series is these slasher series are, and to this day, are still basically resilient. What was the highest grossing horror movie last year? Blumhouse's Halloween. They're making not 1, 2 back-to-back. They're Lord of the Ringsing it. They're doing 2 back sequels of the series because it made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
That is why. They're not doing it because, this is fantastic. What a great story you have here.
4 hours a piece.
They're doing it because it made over $200 million or something, highest grossing slasher of all time. Halloween, which I'm glad it's my boy Mike. But nevertheless, and again, Friday the 13th is still popular today, literally, because it's Friday the 13th, most likely when you're listening to this, and on the East Coast, as Jesse was saying, and in many other parts of the world. And our friend Ben is probably already the 14th.
Right.
The horrible Saturday the 14th. Skip that day. But I forgot where I was going with that. But anyway, so yeah, bottom line is, I thoroughly enjoy this film. It's fun. It's got some great kills. You got Kane Hodder as Jason, and that's another thing. People just hate Kane. Like you have these people that we know. Everybody in their group of friends has those people that are different. Everybody likes Star Wars. Star Wars is stupid. It's just stupid.
Right.
I don't get it. And in our circle, I'm not the biggest Legend of Zelda fan. I don't get why people love that series. Like, I played Breath of the Wild. Great game. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm just like...
That's the only one I've played.
I'm just like, I could be doing this in Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's a lot more fun and entertaining.
Right.
I could be doing this in Rise of the Tomb Raider and having a lot more fun. Me personally, I know you disagree with me on that. I believe from what we were talking about. Again,
just
I like the Zelda series, but it's like, oh, it's fantastic. Oh, the Breath of the Wild is the best game I played in like 10 years. If you played Skyrim on every single thing that can play games except your iPhone, practically.
It's got me to buy that game like 4 times.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm about to go on vacation for Christmas. I'm like, maybe I should just get Skyrim for the Switch so I can play it.
You can always get Blades for the mobile.
I just didn't get into that. Like, I don't like swiping games like that. Like,
I didn't try it. I downloaded it and played the first few, like just that first room, just to see the graphics.
Yeah,
looks pretty impressive.
That's all. I was like, I don't want to swipe.
But yeah, the moving was an issue.
I don't like come on. I don't like Fruit Ninja. Like this, I don't like combat like that. But anyway, so there's everybody knows that one person who's just. Although it's different for me because I'm not saying that to be different. I genuinely do not think Zelda's God's gift to gaming. Crucify me now, everybody. Just not my cup of tea. I think there's better games. Now, is it innovative and amazing? Yes, absolutely. Give it all that credit. But Game of the Year, Breath of the Wild, like, oh, really? Because it's Zelda. That's why I got Game of the Year. Oh, look, my weapons are breaking like games from 2001.
That part was rough.
Oh, look, I have to do all this like in games from 1992. So these old tropes creeping into a modern game make it a good game again? Like, I don't know. Just my 2 cents. This is gaming talk with the old codger, the 40-year-old old man.
That's right.
But anyway, part 7, going back to that. Yeah, but what I was getting at was like, a lot of people just don't like this film because they don't like Kane Hodder's Jason because he breathes like he's like. I mean, you don't hear him breathing, but he's like
a wrestler.
Yeah, he's got that motion to him. That's stupid. Why is he doing that? Okay, you don't like it. That's fine. But I mean, there's a reason they asked him back not once, not twice, but 4 times, and there was a huge uproar in the fan base when he wasn't cast in Freddy vs. Jason, because in that story, some people blame Ronnie Yu, the director, other people blame other people, some people say Kane wanted more money, etc., etc. Nobody knows. There's a different story every day of the week on that. But, as a fan of these films growing up, I wanted to see Kane Hodder's Jason versus Robert Englund's Freddy.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we didn't get that, but in my opinion, warping to 2000, or the aughts revisited, we still got the fan service movie that we wanted for the most part. Mm-hmm. Let's wrap that up in a bow. But but to me, like in every film up until this, Jason looks like he just walked out of a costuming trailer. Nice in part 6, he got the nice military fatigues, got his belt, got his darts, got his freshly yellow leather gloves from Home Depot. In 2, 3, and 4, he's got his wood stuff that he's. Obviously, although he's been living in the woods and all this stuff, they look pretty nice and steamed, no wrinkles or anything. Some little, blatantly placed dirt patches and stuff. But in this one, Jason looks like he's been in a lake for 10 years and just got out of it.
Yeah.
And again, a credit to John Carl Buechler, like his talent as a special effects artist. One of my favorite looks for Jason in this one is when like they show him from the back. His spine's exposed, but you got the tattered clothes. So I mean, it just looks cool as hell. They have every single piece of damage that he's sustained in the franchise represented on him.
Right.
Got the axe wound. The mask is all chipped up on this side from the boat motor from part 6. So he's got the battle damage. And this one, for the most part, the entire time, I've said this before, what makes this is the version of Jason that always scared me. Because as we're watching here on the bottom of the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, right there, you never see the eyes.
Right.
They're black, they got this whatever over them to where like you might see a little glimpse of them, but you never see them. It's that hollowness. There's nothing behind there. It's evil. It's the shape, to quote Halloween, to use the Halloween reference. And actually what we're watching here, Kane Hodder nearly died on that stunt because the last step that he hit his head on was the last fake step. So 2 more inches that way, he would hit a real step. And it's a pretty nice stunt.
Right.
That would not... You can't say if somebody would have died or not, but it would have been bad.
Right.
I mean, that would have been a pretty significant head injury. He's not wearing a helmet. He's wearing foam latex, which... Not so... Yeah, that's not very good.
I think they would have made more fake steps.
Yeah. Well, he made so many of them, and your role as a stuntman is to hit your mark, so to speak. All right, you need to jump through the window this way. We need to land here. You got to roll this way where we don't see your face, which they never told. There's a good shot of his back. You got the exposed bones and everything. And what I was getting at was about to make a joke about Face Off, because how every stuntman looks right at the camera for every stunt in that film. So the next time you watch Face Off, be sure to just notice that it's never Nicolas Cage or John Travolta. I hate Face Off. I just don't like. I loved it when it came out. I just hate that movie. And I can't watch it now. It's so bad. Why, John Woo? Why? Then he went on to do Mission Impossible 2 and screw that franchise over, or so we thought. But that franchise bounced back like Jason Voorhees from a lampshade to the face. But anyway, yeah. So personally, this one, 7. Again, in hindsight, I have gone on record before saying this was my second favorite after the original. In terms of my favorite one to watch. I wasn't wrong in saying that, but as you watch more things, and as you get older, all you youngins will realize your opinions change sometimes. You lean towards more or towards other things. So this is definitely still one of visually, effects-wise, still a high point for the series. I'd say Jason looks the best. I'd say better than I'm just running through his look in every film. Probably better than he does in any of them. Personal opinion. A lot of people they thought his militaristic movements in 6 were great. Some people think, I done forgot his goddamn name from part 4, the stuntman, Ted White. Yeah, Ted White. They people like him, the way he moved as Jason and all that, but I grew up on these 7, 8, and 9 or basically 7 and 8 were the main ones that I grew up on. These were the 2 that I was old enough when we go to the theater. I'm going to go to the bathroom, Mom. Walk out of Willow. Stick my head in Friday the 13th Part 7 for a little bit. Get freaked out and run back to Willow. Or, whatever movie we're watching.
Use the bathroom in there.
Yeah, just whip myself because I'm scared. That kind of thing. So and that is no matter what people say, there is a factor to the first time you see something. For example, the first time I ever heard the music or saw Phantom of the Opera was the touring company here in that came to New Orleans.
Yeah.
So that version to me, when I think back about it, that was the best. I'm still comparing every time I hear a version of any of the songs from Phantom of the Opera to that thought in my head, how that first thing moved me, and this is amazing, this is fantastic.
Yeah. I
didn't know Broadway musicals had such good music, etc., etc. Not all of them do, but a lot of them have some good stuff. I don't like Stephen Sondheim. But anyway, this is Broadway Talk. This week we're going to talk about Into the Woods.
Talk.
Yeah, talk. Get out of here, Ma. We're talking Broadway. I'll get my socks later. That was improv theater as well. We're multiple shows tonight. But anyway, but what I'm getting at is that even when the movie came out with Gerard Butler and all that, I'm still this is good. I like this, but that first version I saw was so much better. The way he moved and just the acting and everything.
Right.
Just indelibly left a mark on me. That's true for anything. That's not always. It's not always true that your first version of something is the best to you, but there's always that somewhat bias I believe you have to get over for things. Every one of these films has been remade. You have a remake of Halloween, Friday, and Nightmare. Some younger people might have seen those first. That remake is way better than the original.
Yeah. Nostalgia.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, and it works both ways.
Of course.
But as when you think objectively about something, these remakes are garbage compared to. But also, and my evidence for that is to look at The Thing, look at the recent Child's Play, look at Night of the Living Dead 1990, which you mentioned earlier. There are ways to make remakes that are not meant to cash in. Mm-hmm. I'd say the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Street and the Texas Chainsaw were definitely meant to do that. I think there was some skill in the Texas one. I won't be too hard on that one for its time. Trey did mention Rob Zombie's Halloween. Because I believe, the difference there is that Rob Zombie wanted to do something different. Total credit to him for that. Did I like it? No.
Yeah.
No. Now, we're not reviewing that movie again. I've talked about that every time we bring something up about Rob Zombie.
Rob
Zombie
or whatever. Is a topic of conversation every week.
But for the most part, welcome to the Rob Zombie podcast.
Yeah.
But anyway, anyway, so yes, this was like the most impressionable of the Fridays as a young person for me. Mm-hmm. So naturally, well, that's why you lean to it. Well, a little bit, absolutely, that does play a part in it, is all I'm getting at. But also, objectively looking back at every one of them, especially when you've seen them as many times as I have, it's just like, okay, yeah, I see why I like this. I understand it. I'm thinking about, and I think what makes people good people to talk about movies, not saying that I am a good person to talk movies about, I've just seen a lot of them. And I talk really fast. I'm excited about them, so I hope that comes across, because that seems what some people like and some people don't like based on the reviews of the podcast. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that, it's like, as long as somebody can explain to me why they like or don't like something, as opposed to it's just stupid.
All right,
it was dumb. I didn't get it. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Wasn't made for you.
Yeah, what? That's fine, but like. Well, I didn't like the way that, this aspect of it really threw me off. Oh, okay. Now, as a person who enjoys watching movies and enjoys making movies and talking about movies, that's the part that, that's why you have your friends who you talk about movies with, because there's some people on Circle Line. I don't mention what movies I saw because I know they're not going to give a shit.
Right.
The Back to the Future segment is my top 10 films that I've seen so far, 2019, because it's our last episode of 2019. Because I'm going on vacation, that's why. Finally, after 2 years, taking the baby. I'll give you all a brief one.
Oh, that's not a vacation.
If we make it, it's not. It's not. Going to visit my parents.
Taking the baby sightseeing.
So my mom's like, "Oh, I'll watch the baby, and y'all can go." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you better not be bullshitting me, because here,
yep,
bye." Sound effect
return.
Exactly. But anyway, so completely just derailed. What was that Liam Neeson movie with the train?
Derailed. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Was it Nonstop? Was the Liam Neeson on a plane? What was the one? It was the same damn plot as every other Liam Neeson on a moving vehicle.
If you're listening to the podcast right now, shout it out and we might hear you.
I heard something.
Yeah, it was something.
It sounded like
oh my God, he made a lot of movies. Commuter.
Yeah. Liam Neeson on a train.
The Commuter.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Taken on a train.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, pretty much. I don't think he's made a good movie since The Grey.
The Grey, 2011. So
now, in terms of, when I say
Battleship isn't good,
that he was like the star, like the top build.
He was bad cop in Lego Movie.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
He's a 14.
Taken 3. Yeah,
he was.
Again, I love Liam Neeson. Oh right. Wait, no, Monster Calls was fantastic.
The monster, yeah.
So he was. I don't know if he was top build or not. I think what's her name from Rogue One might have been top build, but I mean, he was still definitely a main character. So I take it back. But if you haven't seen A Monster Calls, fantastic film. You should watch it. He's
definitely on the cover.
Oh, he's the and
you got to put that in your contract.
Yeah, that's why. Like, it's so funny because you see some movies that'll be like, Robert, or more than, or they'll do Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino with Sean Connery. And then they do the with between ands. So it's and Al Pacino with Sean Connery and Morgan Freeman with Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins. I'm running out of actors I can think of really quickly that would have that in their contract.
Stipulations.
But anyway, I can't remember where I was going with that tangent, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. But I'm sure you get the point of it from what I've been saying, whatever it was. Nevertheless, there's some interesting trivia behind this film. And a lot of these you might have heard before because they're on the documentaries and all that. So if you heard it before, who gives a shit? You never heard me say it. Maybe I'll add some tangents in there that'll make you excited. Who knows? But funny story, Kane Hodder's dressing room was a quarter mile down the dirt road from where they were filming in Alabama.
That's right.
Right down the road from us down here saying the Sutha.
Outside of Mobile, Alabama.
He was walking back to his trailer and some, yokel local was there and like, hey, you in the movie? He's in full makeup, by the way. So you know, I'm sure that you in the movie?
Yeah.
You in the film they filming up the road?
What gave it away?
Well, Kane Hodder in Jason Voorhees fashion just looks at the dude and then like jumps at him, and the dude runs away, saying, "I'm gonna get the sheriff! I'm gonna get the sheriff!" Sheriff never showed up.
Of course not.
Exactly, because
Right.
I don't care. But Carrie Noonan, who played Paula in Jason Lives, the previous entry in the franchise, she actually read for the role of Tina when it was these films. They kept them secret, you know. Most films still do that. They don't tell you when you're coming in to read. If it's a franchise, they don't say like, "Hey, we want you to come and read for Doctor Strange 2 or Avengers 18." It's like, this film's called Board Game. We want you to read for it. So for this film, it's called Birthday Bash was the code name for the film. But as she was reading it, she realized, wait, this is a Friday the 13th film. And then she's like, she kind of shot herself in the foot. She's like, yeah, I was in part 6. They're like, thank you, goodbye. So they didn't cast her. And speaking of, like, I always mention usually when we talk about these films how nowadays the gore in these films, they haven't re-edited them for television since the original edits from, years and years ago. Which, again, Walking Dead, every week, 20 times more gore than any of these films had theatrically.
Of course.
Sorry. But more so than any Friday film, this one was butchered by the censors. I think they went back and forth 9 or 10 times. Like, nope, cut this. And again, we're in the final analysis, we're talking like seconds, like split seconds. Like, oh, you can show the knife hit, but you can't show it sitting in there. And like all that kind of bullshit. What does it fucking matter?
They had some enemies up at the offices.
Yeah. But anyway, John Carl Buechler has publicly fumed many times over the years while he was still alive about the number of edits required to avoid an X rating. Well, you know what? It would seem to me at this point, just release it as an X to generate more hype about it.
That's true, because you know it's not going to make a bunch of money.
Like the Friday film, they don't want you to see, oh shit, it's rated X? I didn't see the last 5. Let me go see this one. What's the big deal?
Full frontal on those campers.
But here we go. It was 9. It had to be submitted 9 times to the MPAA before granting an R rating, and it's considered pretty much the most heavily censored entry in the entire series. And the only way to see the film uncut is to score the early 1989 Dutch release on VHS, which is incredibly rare. In fact, but if you go to YouTube and on the DVDs, they have like the uncut footage. And again, we're talking split seconds here and 2-3 seconds, but it is VHS quality. There's no, unless somebody has them locked in a vault somewhere, this footage does not exist except in that completely grainy VHS quality.
Yeah.
So there's no way to like go back and do a director's cut or an uncut version, because as you're seeing right here, that's what you have. That's the exact. Even our little thing, that little filter that goes on, it's still bad. It's bad quality. Does not. I mean, you get the gist of what they cut, but it doesn't do anything. I think this is the one where he gets the axe in the face.
Those are not our effects on this video playing. Those are theirs.
That's how bad it is.
You can tell the difference between ours going beyond the black lines. And
yeah,
theirs.
that's true.
But yeah. We're watching this on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and search 80s Revisited Podcast, and you could see these clips as well. I welcome you to subscribe, and that URL can be a lot easier once we hit 100 subscribers over there.
So help us out. Give us a Christmas present.
There you go.
But anyway, so yeah, it was originally, like I mentioned, actually I kind of talked about all that Carrie stuff already, so we don't need to repeat that. I mentioned why they cast Kane Hodder, Oh, the mask in this film was cast from the actual original mold as the mask from Part 3, but was modified slightly to include the damage. So that's how accurate this costume was to the series, which I appreciate that because, again, this is Part 7. Jason's not a spring chicken. There's damage, like he's been hit in the head with an axe, machete, etc., all sorts of stuff. So yeah, as you're watching down here, like just to interrupt, like the first one was the TV or the final version. This is the real version. Watch. Oh, actually, maybe it's the next shot, but you can kind of see it on the tree, like where the squib hit. Maybe it's on this next shot.
So in the original, he just does it like once, right?
Yeah. And they just show him drop. See, now in this one,
oh wow.
It looks like Alex Kintner's raft from Jaws when it washes up on the beach, bloody as fuck.
So he hits her up against a tree for the podcast listeners about 7 times.
Which they reference in Jason X when he's in space, when he goes to the holodeck. And it shows him literally just beating the person that's sleeping. Again, it's meta. It's meant to be ridiculous. They know they're calling back. That's why I like Jason X. Spoiler alert for, that podcast series in 20 years. But, again, it knew what it was when they made it. They said, okay, this is part 10. We're going to space. Let's do it. And they went all the way with it, it's great that, it knew what it was doing. Again, I already talked about that. We're done. Sorry. But, anyway, let me see. Oh. The edges, they did trim to make the mask smaller, though, in terms of, its overall size, because they wanted that rotted, bloated flesh look to not be, to kind of be, haloing the mask, so to speak. So the mask is sort of it's kind of sunken into the decayed flesh, which I think makes it look exceptionally good. I personally like that look for it. It was subtitled The New Blood because the intention was that Tina, a.k.a. Carrie, becomes a protagonist who would appear in further sequels. Obviously doesn't happen. I thought this was pretty funny. While they were filming, they hired a alligator wrangler to keep them gators away. Mm-hmm. Well, them gators, they were filming in October and November, and there are no gators in the lake around that time of year. So the dude sat there and did nothing. Just like, oh, yeah.
Easy gig.
What are you doing? You're actually swimming in the lake. Scaring the gators away. You got that check for me today? This is Jason appears unmasked the longest in this film, which is pretty much, not the whole climax, of course, but the last, 4 or 5 minutes for sure after she kind of cracks the mask off telekinetically. And this was really cool, especially because there's a great if you like documentaries about film, which I do, and I like to plug as many of them as I can that I've actually seen that I consider worth watching. There's a documentary, I think it's called To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story. There's a search, Kane Hodder documentary. But if you don't know, Kane Hodder, he's been a stuntman. He's always wanted to be a stuntman. He's got huge fucking bowling balls for nuts. I mean, he's done things I wouldn't I can't tell you how much money they'd have to pay me to hype stunts that he's done, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, But as a young man, he was doing a news crew was, local stuntman's going to do a controlled burn for us on the air. Well, it went really, really bad. Kane got burned all over his body. I say typical, but when you hear stories about people that get bad burns, I mean, it's, we're talking Darkman level here. Not to where he's disfigured like that, but I mean, he was in the hospital for months and months having to heal and, unbearable pain. Can't even imagine, because just you burn your finger and it's just for days, you're like, God damn it, stop hurting. I can't imagine, a severe burn like he had, but I mean, he was really, really bad shape. But obviously he's bounced back. Usually if you see pictures of him at conventions, he wears gloves because he still has the scars and everything. I mean, he was burned. Go to Wikipedia, it'll tell you how much, percentage of his body, etc. So, as in Freddy versus Jason, where Jason's weakness is water. Mm-hmm. Kane Hodder, by all means should be terrified of fire. How about a little fire, Hodder? No.
And his name is Hodder.
Good one. The Pun King, Jesse Sedgley. But anyway, but this film at the time, again, May 13th, 1988, set a record for the longest uninterrupted on-screen control burn in Hollywood history. And the reason, part of that adds to that is that in most films, when there's an explosion, you see it, edit, cut, and then all of a sudden, then you see scenes of somebody on fire going, and they fall down, multiple edits, multiple angles, cut. This one, they show him igniting. So you see it, the burn is there from start to finish. And I think it was 40 seconds. Record setting at that time. I'd be willing to bet it's probably still up there, but I'm sure there's probably longer burns, on-screen burns since then. I think that's a safe bet to say.
Methods have probably improved a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But alternate ending right there, referencing the first one. YouTube and Twitch can see it, but if you're listening... More incentive to go watch this on YouTube and subscribe. But anyway, you also have to get it a little earlier than the podcast, I believe. Is that correct? Or am I talking on my ass?
For what?
This YouTube, the live stuff, this is sooner than the podcast?
About the same time. It's going live on tomorrow.
Never mind. I lied.
I do one after the other.
Gotcha. So mere seconds. But I mean, if you want to be first on those comments,
Yeah.
You know what to do. But yeah, so I mean, I think it's pretty impressive. Like, for example, I broke my leg on roller skates. I've been roller skating one time since then. Scared the shit out of me to get on roller skates again because I did not. Is a possibility there? Yes. Is the probability there? Probably not. But I was so fucking scared. On roller, just like, okay, you know, because when I broke it the first time, it was total fluke.
Yeah.
Just literally a fluke. But you know, still like, get him back. Got to get back on that horse, man. Got to get back on them skates. Roller derby's coming up. We need you. That's an 80s movie.
Yeah.
I can't.
You got to say
the youth center. These kids need you. You used to be white lightning on them skates. He's got the old skates with the white lightning bolt on them. I brought these. Not that I guess you're going to need them. Walks away, like, look at him, you know. Then the montage. Dun, 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 dun. No, actually, that's got to be a slow walk. Looking, thinking about, like, then the montage of, like, the most horrific leg break you ever seen. You're just like,
it's like in black and white.
Yeah, inner space with the kids like, I don't want to go to the streets again, have to do heroin and kill people for money. I gotta get back on those skates.
Gotta get them.
See, give us money. We'll make great movies like that again. Make movies great again. It'll be fantastic. It'll be terrific. I know that's a bad impression, but so's our president. Oh, what? No. Not political. No. Body count, Jesse. I know you didn't see it. Would you like care to play Prices Right and take a guess?
666.
Holy shit.
7.
You probably wouldn't. I would imagine the person next to you would have done that asshole thing on the Prices Right and gone, 8. No,
not from last.
$1. I need a number of kills. $1, Bob. Or Drew these days. Okay. Okay. $1. You lose.
Yeah.
16. So pretty high for the film.
Oh yeah.
Score wise, again, is this biased? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
But as far as this series go, I would give it an appropriate 7.
Okay, not far from the 5.3.
And again, this we are not a film podcast.
Sure,
we are talking about fun movies from the 80s that I grew up on, and if you're listening, most likely you probably did too.
Yeah,
you know, and if you didn't, hey, I'm glad you listened because you get to hear an old person who's hopefully not anti-millennial asshole tell you about how great things were, but also realize that, you know what, I understand if you know they're not so great to you. But anyway, as far as this series goes, I think it's, I honestly don't think there's that many low points in this series. Because, what is it? It is a 12 entry, counting the remake in Freddy vs. Jason, slasher series from the 80s that was a ripoff of Halloween.
Yeah. So,
it really can't go low. It can only be decent. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, nobody expected these to win anything. There's no horror Oscars.
Right.
But it won the hearts and minds of hundreds of little starry-eyed children who would, on Halloween, go to Kmart and Walmart and buy hockey masks and those oversized plastic machetes that when you swing them would whistle. Because they're gigantic and had holes in them, so you could actually, like a fucking ocarina, play the goddamn thing or something.
If it didn't, you made the noises.
Exactly. But anyway, in closing, I thoroughly enjoy this film. I could watch it anytime, and have a good time. Is it, in hindsight, what I would say my favorite Friday the 13th? No, that goes to 6. Again, as I mentioned before and on that episode, the reasons why. Yeah. But nevertheless, it's a fun film, and I think if you're a fan of it, there's a lot of podcasts out there that talk about these films. A lot that are a lot more knowledgeable than I am. But, horror fans are great for the most part. Very, everybody likes to talk shit. But you every now and then get across like, this is a garbage piece of... Like, then why are you even fucking talking about it? Not just my opinion. Like, because when people say they hate films, especially on podcasts, like, I just didn't like it. I just thought it was dumb. And they just make fun of it. Which, Jaws is probably one of the greatest, if not one of the top 3 greatest films ever made, in my opinion. But I can poke holes in it all day long.
Sure.
Doesn't change the fact it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of great 80s movies we make fun of a lot.
Yeah, I mean, any movie. I'm about to talk about my 10 favorite films of the year, what I think the 10 best films are, and I could have fun with all of them.
Like movies with razor frisbees and...
we have fun with those just as much as, we have fun with, The Irishman or whatever, if you want to watch The Irishman. Yeah. Which I haven't because I don't have 4 fucking hours with my goddamn baby.
It took me 3 sittings to get through it.
Is it worth watching?
I enjoyed it.
Should I go watch Goodfellas for the 5th time or watch The Irishman? Or do a double feature of Goodfellas and Casino?
It's really good. I would watch it, yeah.
Again, it's just like just time. And I like sitting down and watching a movie. Yeah. I don't like, of course, sometimes, because when you have a baby, sometimes, you have to break it up. But I like to, like when me and Autumn watch movies at night, it's like, okay, it's, if we get the baby down by 7:30, whatever, okay, we got 2.5 hours roughly. Let's watch this and an episode of Watchmen or whatever, or however we want to work it.
Right.
But when I see something that's 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it was scary when I first saw that. I was like, oh my god.
Although my favorite film of the year, director's cut, had a very high runtime and 3 hours felt like 1 hour. Which we'll get to that right now. Actually, right after, in the real world.
All right.
Because this came out May 13th, 1988. 5 days earlier, on May 8th, 1988, Robert Heinlein, one of the most famous and prolific science fiction authors, passed away, to give you an idea of when this movie came out. So we never got to see this. Might have been a good thing for him because he wrote very, very poignant science fiction. What did he write, Trey? Stranger in a Strange Land and a little ditty called Starship Troopers.
Oh.
Speaking of films that have numerous sequels that got more ridiculous as they went on, but nevertheless enjoyable, Starship Troopers. And also the movie is pretty much nothing like the book.
I was going to say.
Not at all.
Do you think he would have enjoyed the movie?
Well, he died. 88, yes. He definitely didn't see the movie. He was 10 years too late.
Yeah.
Haha, too late. That's a joke. He was born in 1907, though. So he, let's see, that's what, about 81?
He was 80.
Yep. Oh, I didn't quite make it to 81. But yeah, his works have been adapted numerous times.
14 times.
Wow. Didn't he do, what's that Affleck movie? Paycheck? Was it Paycheck?
He did not. Predestination was by, was that Ethan Hawke?
Meh.
Paycheck? Oh, yeah,
the Affleck movie?
The movie where he gets a paycheck?
Let's see, does it say based on a...
Short
Philip K.
story.
Dick. Wrong one. Wrong prolific science fiction author.
Right.
No, that was the one where he didn't have a memory. He was like, I got an envelope with a paper clip, a chewed up piece of gum, and a dog turd. And then as he's going through his adventure, each one has an incredible revelation.
I did not see that John Woo classic.
It's better than Mission Impossible, too. Yeah. Sorry, Ben. But anyway, not Affleck.
Right.
But anyway, Back to the Future this week. As this is the last episode for this year, because of vacations and because I basically forgot we were supposed to record last week and went to bed, which is why there was no episode last week. Totally my fault.
Yeah, I got a message like at 11:30.
Like, I forgot.
Whoops.
So but just to give you previews of coming attractions. Once we come back after the new year, after we get back from vacation, we'll finish out the death match, and then if you follow us on Facebook, you would have seen that we're going to go through the 80s Bond films.
Yes, I did see that.
So if you're a Bond fan, I got a lot to say about at least the one. Me and Autumn's only seen I think the Daniel Craig one, like the last couple that have actually. Actually, you know what? I think the only one she saw until we started watching them from the start was Skyfall. Because that was the last one I saw in the theater. So I think right now we're on the the last one we watched was Live and Let Die. So I got a few more we got to work through, which will give us time.
You started from the beginning?
Yeah. Because I've seen most of them, but I've not seen all of them, and I've not seen them in order. So we're kind of going through them, but I was holding off. I mean, I still got a couple to go through to get to the 80s.
I'll save my questions for when we get there.
But yeah, it's been interesting.
So you've watched about
8 or 9
of them, yeah. Wow.
Yep, and looking forward to getting to the 80s because
you could have saw The Irishman twice.
I don't know because those I gave I didn't realize this. Of course, I was watching them and looking at the time, but all the Craig Bond films 2+, 2.5, ridiculously long run times for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, God. But then I'm watching these old ones holy shit, how long is this one? 2:20? Jesus Christ! God damn! The previous one was an hour and a half. Why is this one so long? But anyway, that's again previews of coming attractions. But for the Back to the Future segment this week, Now, this is subject to change after I actually catch up on some of the films I haven't seen. For example, Rise of the Skywalker hasn't come out. I guarantee you that would be on this list somewhere after it comes out. I didn't get to catch Dr. Sleep. Haven't seen Knives Out. I've seen most of the big stuff I've caught up on. There's some not necessarily independent films, but some lesser known films that I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen The Lighthouse yet. High Life, haven't seen that. It's supposed to be really good. Peanut Butter Donut. What's the name of the fucking movie?
Peanut Butter Donuts.
That should be a movie.
Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, that's it. I haven't seen that. Really want to see that. There's another one that. I think no, never mind. That might have been last year. Anyway, my personal, the 10 films this year, going to Wikipedia and looking at films released in 2019.
Right.
I went down the list and wrote down every one that I thought was good. And then I went from there and these were the ones that I enjoyed the most. Number 10, Mr. Wick, Part 3.
Ah, Mr. Wick.
John Wick 3, not as good as the second one, but that type of film gets me, it has my attention every time. In this one you have the added ass. I mean, just the visual, those action sequences are the price of admission. Well, they were matched in part 2 because I'd suck Keanu's dick and I'm not gay, but you get a couple of scenes in here when the young bucks are giving him what for. There's that, and most people don't know this. I am nitpicking. I fully admit that because I watch Shaw Brothers martial arts movies like some people. I don't know, watch something that people watch a lot. I can't think of a reference. So I mean, I know I'm looking at very specific things when I see a hand-to-hand fight scene. Personally, just because that's what I've I've been trained to do from what I like. Just some not off-key moments, so to speak, but just slower. The action's like a little bit that I'm talking quarter of a second delay for something to happen. Again, not talking shit about it. This is a nitpick. But yeah, John Wick number 3, number 10, number 9, Jordan Peele's Us. This was a great year for horror. In terms of especially big or widely distributed films. A lot of people like Get Out. A lot of people didn't seem to like Us, but I was the whole time. I'm just like, okay, what is this? Where is this going? What's happening here? And then I'm like, wow, did not see that coming. But then everything, it's that moment. The whole time there's the last piece of the puzzle. You're playing with it every direction, and all of a sudden, click, and you're like, God damn it, and it works. Number 8. A lot of people did not like this film, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that would be Glass. Unbreakable was always one of my favorite Shyamalama Ding Dong films. Not Glass. Split comes out in that last scene. Like, holy shit, it's in the Unbreakable. It's a tie-in to Unbreakable. And then they make Glass. Now, a lot of people, we live in the age of the Marvel, of the superhero movie. Yeah. That is, thankfully it's slowing down, which it needs to, because, we're already at peak, it's overflowing. So I appreciate, the groundedness of it, although, again, when I say groundedness, that's looking at this from a more realistic take than Doctor Strange. Second Doctor Strange mentioned in this podcast. Love Doctor Strange. The movie, a lot of people didn't like that one.
Were you doing the motion?
Yeah. I'm opening a gate back home, so I don't have to drive.
YouTube viewers only get to see that.
Exactly. But anyway, I like Glass. No spoilers. I thought it was fantastic. I thought that trilogy is a great trilogy, in my opinion, although it might not end up being a trilogy.
This list is reminding me of all the things I need to go back and watch.
Yeah, I've seen a couple, too, that I don't even think of.
What you're saying, not this stuff.
Sorry.
Some of this stuff is like...
A lot of it's releasing, right now. A lot of stuff limited release right now because they're prepping it for award season. They want to make sure it's fresh in the minds for award season. But anyway, Glass number 8. Number 7, Jesse, I'd recommend this one to you. Yesterday, Danny Boyle's film where everybody except a couple of people forget that the Beatles existed.
Right.
If you like the Beatles, you're going to love it. I think but it's just a good movie. It's well written, good dialogue. It's different. It's a really the little things in it are what's funny because basically the dude gets hit by a bus right when a blackout hits the entire Earth. He wakes up. Nobody remembers the Beatles. There's also there's great references like, y'all have a Coke? What's that?
Right. Other things were forgotten.
Yeah,
as
like
well.
it's not just everybody forgets the Beatles. Like he basically is in an alternate timeline. No spoiler there.
Okay.
It's not, just to give you an idea, but it's well acted. It's so well done. The lead guy, I forget what's his name. Go down so I can give him credit, please. Hamish Patel does all his own singing, and I think he did a lot of his playing too. It's just a good movie. Like the whole time, I'm just great music, obviously, and where it goes, it's just great. Had a great time watching it. Really, really good. Recommend it for sure. Number 6, another horror movie, or most people would consider it a dark comedy, which would technically be more accurate, but Ready or Not with the absolutely gorgeous Samara Weaving from The Babysitter, and Hugo Weaving's niece or cousin, something like that.
Right.
And also, it stars the guy from Mission Impossible. I forget his name, but Kittrick.
Not Tom Cruise.
Right, yeah, not Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible or Ving Rhames. But the second he showed, that's the only thing I know this dude from, but he was Kittrick in Mission Impossible, like Mr. Hunt, your mission should you choose to accept. He's the one that he meets in the first one and he throws the exploding gum on the aquarium window and busts and all that. But he's in that. But it's funny, it's entertaining, it's got some great gore, so it hits all the right keys.
See a name there?
I don't know his name. He's an older dude. Maybe Henry Cerny, maybe. I don't know. Something like that.
One of them.
When I see his big picture, I can tell you. Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's Mission Impossible right there.
Okay.
But Ready or Not, it's fun. Autumn even liked it, and she's not, usually doesn't like kind of silly. Actually, you would like. I heard board games would be a great board game film because it's about that's kind of the premise.
It's a board game, yeah.
Sort
Family.
of. It ties into that. They explain
Which
that.
means it's a complete work of fiction because no board gamers get rich unless you're, unless you're Milton Bradley or what's the other one? Hasbro.
Yeah, John Hasbro, I think, and Mr. Milton Bradley.
The Hasbro family.
And Richard Playschool. I don't know. Didn't Playschool do Play-Doh? I don't know. Or John Play-Doh? I don't know. Anyway, number 5, Avengers Endgame. Yes, because that was the culmination of 10 years of movies into one
Had to be
film
done.
that was absolute. Whether you like them or not, that film was amazing. My only complaint is they had it set up for Cap to deliver one of the greatest lines in comic book history, and they didn't do it.
What's that?
When basically Thor's down, Iron Man's down, and it's just Cap talking to Thanos, and he's like, "You're going to die." I forget the line that what they say, but it has that great shot because the Russos have a great eye for that kind of action. Mm-hmm. Long shot, Thanos over here, very like symbolic of like a Western. You know, the shadow, more of the shadows moving. Thanos is over here. Cap's over, walking up to him like right before the gates open, and everybody comes back after the all the reinforcements come, and the Avengers, the part that makes everybody pee a little in their pants and get super excited. But in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, Thanos has just killed literally not so much a snap, but I mean he's killed Thor, he's killed Iron Man, killed Spider-Man, he's killed just brutal. He's murdering everybody, and Captain America's left. Yeah, basically a man that's super. He's not Superman. He's still Captain fucking America. Don't get me wrong, but I mean he's not the Hulk. He walks right up to Thanos' face and says, and I know this because I've read this comic so many times because it's a goddamn iconic moment. And he says, as long as one man stands against you, Thanos, you will never be able to claim victory. I've seen that. And Thanos goes, noble sentiments from one who is about to die. And he literally just backhands him and kills him. Yeah. But it's the Captain America watched. He knows he can do it, but he walks right up to this fucking face and tells him off before he dies. Incredible in a when like that's just like holy shit. Yeah. And of course,
I guess they didn't use that because they would have expected Captain America to die at that point.
Which I was thinking that going not the Endgame, but Infinity War, because all the trailers had that scene where like Thanos is gonna come at Cap, and he have that scene where he catches the gauntlet, and it's like, and you're like, right, oh, what's gonna happen here? Yeah, but they had it set up to deliver again. One of the most iconic comic book moments. I mean, gotta be top 5, honestly. it's a nitpick. It still was great. It didn't detract, but the comic book geek in me was like, oh God, they're going to like, oh, this is going to be good. And this is like, it still was good. Don't get me wrong. But as the comic book fan of me fanboy wanted that to see that moment on the big screen.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that was number 5. Number 4, I believe I mentioned it before, Little Monsters on Hulu with Lupita Nyong'o.
I still didn't go back after Halloween to watch that.
Oh God, it's so good. I mean, I guess you can consider it a dark comedy, but it's it's a zombie. I mean, would you say Shaun of the Dead's a dark comedy, or just a horror comedy? I guess would be. I mean,
dark comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is pretty much it. It's fantastic. You'll laugh, you'll cry,
comedy
you'll tear
horror.
Up. Yeah. It works. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's a little more lighthearted than something like I don't know what like a dark comedy like.
Yeah, dark comedy has like the undertones of darkness, whereas like
not so much
comedy horror is more just funny horror.
It seems like what's considered a dark comedy though is typically more not so much horrific, but more like we just killed this guy, we got to do something. I don't know what we got to, and then hilarity ensues, or or something like that. So definitely, and along that lines, what we just said, definitely a horror comedy. But Little Monsters, if you have Hulu, it's free. It's fantastic. It's rated R.
You're already paying for it, is what I
mean. You're technically paying for it, but I mean, it's there. Most people subscribe to several streaming services.
Sure,
but it's there. It's great. IMDb gives it a 6.3. I'd say it's a 8.3. I thoroughly I didn't expect much. I just saw the trailer, like, I love the cast, but the movie's just great. It reminds me of The Men Who Stare at Goats, and that's because I'm a Star Wars fan. That's all I'm saying. So there you go. When you watch it, you'll get exactly what I mean. Top 3, my personal 3 favorite films of the year, because I'm one of the greatest film critics of all time. Just kidding. Number 3, just saw this the other day. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Absolutely fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I still need to see
it. It's so good. Hateful Eight is still my favorite Tarantino film, but this one, the man just writes the best fucking dialogue, and the combination, the writer director combination that he is, there's nothing like it. I mean, it is so. You don't even. When you watch for me, because not everybody likes Tarantino. When I was watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I forgot I was watching Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, and in my opinion, that's not an easy thing to do, because two of the biggest actors in the fucking world.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, wow, that's Jack Dalton. That's not Leonardo DiCaprio. That's Jack Dalton. How's Jack Dalton going to get out of this one? I hope he makes it. Oh shit, he's talking to it's just great, and only Tarantino could have made this movie. And every act, I mean, God, the last 10 minutes, oh my God, it's so good. It's so entertaining. A smile on your face, it's a worried smile, I really like a lot of these people in this film. I hope nothing bad happens to them. But it's vintage is it's the wrong word, dictionarily, or however you want to put it, but it when you watch it, you'll know exactly what I mean. Yeah. It's vintage Tarantino in terms of the film itself. It's fan freaking tastic. However, I do think 2 films, if I had to pick, affected me, or Once Upon a Time is still fresh in my head. I haven't thought about it. I think about it because it's hilarious and it's great. But number 2 for me was Joker. What's more to say? I mean, people have talked about it all the time. Great. I mean, acting, everything, just the ride that Joaquin takes you on that film is just is absolutely mesmerizing. I forgot I was watching basically a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Because it's not a comic book movie. People say, oh, The Dark Knight, Dark Knight's not a comic movie, it's a crime. It's Heat. It's Heat with superheroes. You kind of forget that you're, in this, until he put the end where he's like, can you call me, he's putting on the makeup again. And it's like, oh, wait, this is I thought I was confused at what I was watching, or forgot, excuse me, that's not right? But I was like, wow, what, I forgot, this is a comic, this is a DC movie? Jesus, wow. And of course, it goes on to make over $1 billion at the box office, and they want to make a sequel, but Todd Phillips, like we don't really want to do a sequel. Thank you. Please don't make a sequel because no, like this, it ruins everything. Oh, it made money.
Yep.
We have to do a sequel. We got to get Joaquin. And they will put a shit ton of money in front of them because even if it makes $500 million, half of what the first one made, they'll consider it worth it.
Yeah.
You know, so, but could they make a good sequel? Yeah. I mean, that's definitely possible.
It yet, so.
Oh, it's so good.
I know.
But this is a movie that I will not watch it often. I might watch it once or twice the rest of my life.
Right.
Like, again, that's not knocking it, but I mean, it is...
Yeah.
It's not like, dude, let's watch Joker. Like, nah, you know, it's like, hey, dude, let's watch Fight Club. Okay, I can watch Fight Club. I can watch Fight Club pretty much any time. Even though it's, you know, it gets really deep, but it has those moments where like it picks you up and it drops you down like a roller coaster. Joker is a roller coaster, but it goes up, down, up, and that's, you know, it's not like up, down, up, down, up, down. It's a hell of a ride. But again. That's not a knock against it. There's many a fantastic movie that I would say are some of the best movies ever made that I would not, you know, some of them I don't even need to watch again. But anyway, to keep everybody out of suspense, the movie that I still fucking think about and just creeps me out sometimes and I just literally just think about it randomly, and that's Midsommar. It's basic. And to not give anything away, because I don't know anything about it. All I know is that this is Ari Aster's new movie. He did Hereditary. It's kind of like The Wicker Man. That's all I knew going into it. And it is a masterfully directed film. It is a masterfully acted film. It is a horror film that takes place pretty much completely in the daylight.
Wow.
Now, when I say horror, I'm not talking about there's a killer running amok. It is a palpable sense of tension throughout the entire thing. Again, there's this visual in the beginning that is fucking this is in the first literally the first 5 minutes without spoiler. Basically, some people kill themselves with putting like hoses on the car exhaust and then like winding them through the house and putting them like in their mouths. So they basically, the whole family commits suicide. But when like this long continuous shot following the hose, you don't know what, you know. Oh, so I guess somebody's dead. Oh, it's a couple. Oh no, goes to another room. There's the kids. Goes to another room. And it's just like, and the score for this film is phenomenal, and it's fucking. I hate it because the score has stings in it.
Has what?
Stings.
Oh, okay.
You know. And the first time listening to it, I'm just like, God, this is great. And you know, I'm relaxed because I like to listen to film scores. I have a ton of them. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh fuck! Like I jumped the fuck out of my chair. Jesus Christ!
The Haxan Cloak. That's the composer.
But it's this is a film. Every single aspect is amazing. And like this is, and I watched the director's cut. I haven't seen the theatrical cut because, of course, like I said, I have a baby. Didn't get to see it in the theater. But I mean, I want to say the director's cut's like a little over 3 hours, like maybe right at 3 hours, I guess would be a way to put it. But it felt like I was just like, wow, it's over already. Like, wow, it kept. That's awesome. I did not look away from the screen the entire time. Not to heap too much praise on it because if you say you didn't like this movie's not for everybody.
Sure.
Talking about earlier with the Friday the 13th series. Not everybody's going to like this film. I understand if you don't like it. I can see why. Hereditary was great, but I kind of thought it was a little overrated. People were saying it was the scariest movie they ever seen. Like that's what drew me to it. Like people were saying it's the scariest movie. I got to see it because I want to watch a scary movie. Didn't find it scary because it's that kind of movie I don't find scary. You know, possession, ghost type movies, not my cup of tea. In terms of fear, this one is that, you know, again, the closest thing I can compare. All I'm going to say is, you know, it has Wicker Man vibes. Not the Nicolas Cage one, not the bees. Oh God, the bees! But the original Christopher Lee, you know, Wicker Man. And like I said, I mean, visually stunning. Like Ari Aster is I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. He is a great director. he has an eye. And like I said, the acting, everything about it is just like all aspects of it are just so well done. It reminds me of he's sort of like, I will compare him. He's like the horror tension suspense version of Dennis Villeneuve. What he does for sci-fi, Ari Aster does for horror and thriller. Like it's so like there's film. He does things as a director like visually that are unique, like completely unique to him. That like when people are tripping on drugs, instead of like having that camera mounted to their chest and they're like, whoa, running around, and it's like that still Finding Bigfoot cam, for lack of a better word. Like the subtle things he does, like because, and this is not spoiling anything, but I mean they take they're overseas and like, oh, welcome to our village, like here we take this, like and they there's no subtext. It was like, oh yes, this is gonna make you trip, so this is kind of what you do here, like, oh cool, we're going to be part of the culture, blah blah blah. That's not spoiling anything, but like the way it shows like the trip is like, it's, if you've ever smoked a whole bunch of weed, or if you I've never done anything harder than that, but like when you have a good experience, or you're really drunk, that kind of waviness. The way it's interpreted in the film, like it captures that subtly but accurately, if that makes sense, to where it's like, okay, it's not overdone to where movies like Spun, or like any movie where somebody like takes some drugs and all of a sudden they're like sweating and like fast cuts and like just random stuff like thrown into it and stuff like that. It's so unique. Like you can tell that there was thought put into every single frame of this film. It wasn't just, okay, we need the reaction shot of the dude over there. Let's put the camera, let's put it like right here.
No, to have like, that kind of time. Yeah.
I mean, like this, every shot is just, you could just tell that there's skill there. There's technique. There's a reason for doing this shot. There's a reason for the camera being at this angle. You don't, in my personal opinion, you don't see that in, Little Monsters. Again, love the film, but it's not that type of film.
Right.
You don't see it in Endgame. You don't see it in Ready or Not. John Wick 3, you're seeing what's best for the action because you have continuing shots. But in this film, where it's tense, it's like you're uneasy the whole time, but in a good way. Not to where like, I want this movie to end, like what's that? But it's just like, you're like, okay, And the perfect, honest. Here's the best way for me to put it for this film, because I want to quit talking about it because I want people to watch it.
Yeah,
it is a perfectly escalating film of tension. There's no, it doesn't take you on a roller coaster like I was saying. Fight Club, for example, like you get breaks in the darkness of it. It's not like Joker where it's going like straight down. This one's just going, tension's just going up and up and up and up. But like, honestly, it's to where you don't realize how tense you are until something happens. And then it's just like, Jesus Christ. How did I get here? And that's why, like, I find myself, whenever I see trees, if I'm driving down the road, I see the trees, like, and once you see the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just like, I think there's a shot in this film. I don't know if it's in more than one shot, but there's only one, because I was like, that looks like, and then I go look it up on the internet after the movie. Sure enough, it was. Again, don't look, if you're hearing this and like, oh, I heard about that movie. Do not do what my wife does and pull out your phone and go to Wikipedia when you hear about a movie that people are talking about and basically read the synopsis.
Right.
All I knew about this film, Ari Aster, guy did Hereditary, is similar to The Wicker Man. Okay. Again, I didn't expect this for me. I never would have guessed this when what I would say was the most effective film for me this year. Never would have guessed it, but after like the day after, I said, Autumn, or it was a couple of days after, talking to my wife, I said, what was the best film you've seen this year? And she's like, Midsommar. I'm like, me too. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because that's just like, I swear, like there's just, it's haunting. It's like I said, not everybody's going to get that from it, but it sure as hell stuck with me to where I've been talking about it for 10 fucking minutes. Spoiler free, by the way, for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again, I haven't seen. There's a lot of films I haven't seen. Mm-hmm. Worst film of the year: X-Men: Dark Phoenix. Worst. Oh my God! As good as these 10 films that I mentioned are, like they're not even in the same sport.
Wow.
As Dark Phoenix.
I still haven't seen it.
It is worthwhile. Like everybody should watch it.
Just to know what not to do.
You know, like, again, like I think I brought it before when I watched
clips, and that was bad enough.
You know, like how before the movie magic is digitally put on the film to where we get to see the cool scene of them, like, you know, Magneto moving something and it looks great. There was no care taken to how these people, like Fassbender, like and Fassbender's a great actor. Even in Jonah Hex, he was a good actor.
He thought he'd get the support of the effects department that didn't come through.
Well, I mean, he acted his balls off, but you know, every other aspect of filmmaking made him look stupid, like he's trying to lift a helicopter up.
Right.
You know, like a good director doesn't let that happen. Excuse me. That's not. It's just bad. It's bad. 120% bad. 1,020. I mean, as much bad as you could possibly imagine. This is in my personal opinion, Dark Phoenix was the worst film I saw this year. Now, when I say worst, I watched it from start to finish, had a good time watching it, but that was because it's so fucking bad. And you're watching, you know, I don't have anything nice to say about Sophie Turner except that she's pretty. And she's great on Game of Thrones. She's horrible as Jean Grey. The dude
Game of Thrones curse.
Yeah, like we talked about that before. McAvoy's in Glass. I mean, nobody's between McAvoy and Fassbender, like they're not acting bad. It's not. I don't blame them because, you know, they're acting their balls off, and it's just every other aspect of filmmaking is failing their performances. And like I said, I think I mentioned before, Jennifer, not Aniston,
Lawrence?
Yeah, thank you. She obviously did not want to be in this film. She is talking like this the whole time. Hey, what's up? Like literally, no, just totally lame. Jessica Chastain, overrated.
I always thought that.
Like I don't. Yeah, she got an Oscar nom for Zero Dark 30. Hated her in it. Mm-hmm. Let me rephrase. I did not hate her, but it's hate her because we all haters in it. I'm not a Jessica Chastain fan, put it that way. I'm a Bryce Dallas Howard fan, not a Jessica Chastain fan. She's horrible, but without surprise to me, she's horrible in Dark Phoenix. Everybody, I mean, it's just, I'm just like, I didn't expect much after Apocalypse, you know, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, is it real? Is this train wreck, you know, it's a slow motion train wreck. And it keeps going and going. Like, oh my God. Now there's a couple of good, like there's some like action in it. That's not bad. Don't get me wrong. But as a whole, it is just so bad. Go watch the X-Men animated cartoon series on Disney Plus. 5-episode Dark Phoenix saga. Pretty much comic accurate. Better than this shit. Better than X-Men 3. The first time they tried to do a live action Dark Phoenix. Just stay away from that storyline. Who is the X-Men's greatest enemy? It ain't the Dark Phoenix. It's man. How relevant? Sorry for banging the table. If people wonder what that noise was. How relevant is that to like today? You know, like a group of people is being hunted and persecuted against because they're different by a government that wants to do it. You know, it's perpetrated by. I mean, it's socially relevant. All that kind of, you know, I mean, that's the plot line. That's why X2 was great, because it was about men, like people being afraid of mutants. It's their greatest enemy. Dark Phoenix Phoenix isn't even bad anymore in the comics half the time. It's just not, when I say bad, I'm talking not destroying a solar system and a galaxy, killing billions of people bad.
Right.
It's not Hitler anymore. Although it was Hitler, so we never forget that. Please, when somebody's possessed by the Phoenix, it committed genocide on a galaxy scale. So don't forget that. But anyway, yeah, that was the worst. Since we last recorded, I saw the new Rambo. It was, you know, Rambo alone was it's worth watching, because it's not bad, but it was unnecessary.
Right.
John Rambo
Cash grab.
I don't know if it was a cash grab. I guess Stallone just thought he had another story to tell, but it doesn't add anything. Except, wow, John Rambo has a really shitty life. He gets home and has to deal with this. But John Rambo ended with him coming back from Burma and saving those missionaries and everything, and just he came home. He finally made it home. That was the end. But now this one, he's at home enjoying his life. He can't, shit happens.
The legend comes home.
Now, again, I'll watch another Rambo movie if he makes it. I will watch him. But again, I thought he ended that story quite well. Just like he ended Rocky Balboa perfectly with Rocky Balboa. And then, wisely, he didn't make Rocky, another Rocky after that. He made Creed.
Right.
Stroke of genius, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Perfect. It's not Rocky 6 or that would be Rocky 7.
Yeah.
It is a new franchise, but in that universe with that character. It's a marvel. He marveled it. That's so. We're seeing, Apollo Creed's son, but we still have that tie to that universe, for that because Rocky's in it. Yeah. So we still get to see what happens to Rocky, but he's not the main character. Perfect way of passing the torch in a venerable franchise. Yeah. Not saying Rambo should get home and here's his daughter.
I'm going to teach you how to kill.
Exactly. I just got back from Desert Storm, Dad, and it takes place in the 90s or something, or Iraqi, not Iraqi freedom, whatever. I don't know what they call these operations.
There's a wrong way to do it too, which Die Hard did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
the last 10 minutes. It's a horror movie, and it's literally Stallone alone.
Stallone is Jason.
He's Jason Voorhees, but Kevin McAllistering. He has his house of traps.
Right.
And I've heard people say, "Oh, it's brutal." It is. Again, it's a horror movie. The last 10 minutes are a horror movie. 20 minutes are a horror movie. It's a short film, worth watching if you like the series. But it's like Toy Story 4. I enjoyed it. Didn't need it. Didn't miss anything by it. Had it not come out, we wouldn't have missed anything.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I think there was something else, a big movie that I saw recently. But, yeah, I guess that's it for this week. I did get a couple of emails and comments on the deathmatch, but we'll go over those next time.
For the deathmatch episode.
Yeah, so it's all that information, all the deathmatch stuff will be contained within the specific deathmatch episodes, and I don't want to sprinkle anything in here. Do got the bracket, like we talked about. It's randomized again with the winners, ready to go. But we'll get to that. We'll finish that up as soon as I get back from vacation.
And then Bond.
Early January. And then
so we got lots of episodes planned.
Yeah. At least 10, probably.
Yeah.
We still have plenty of stuff to do, which is, again, matter of me not forgetting that, oh, shit, it's 9 o'clock. Time to get over to Jesse's to record. And not remember it 2 hours later while I'm laying in bed watching YouTube videos.
But you could always talk to us live, twitch.tv/80s Revisited, where if you have these emails you're sending, just come here and live chat with us to change the outcome of those fights.
Well, of course, the downside of that is all our good email friends are... Well, and it's tomorrow for one of them, and the other ones are sleeping.
Yeah.
In good old UK and Tasmania.
Stay up for it.
Yeah, come on, guys. Jesus Christ. But anyway, agevisit@gmail.com is the email address. Don't forget our friends at the Something Something Podcast Network. You mentioned the Twitch and everything. I Heart Board Games on Twitch as well. Yep. I haven't posted anything on there.
80s. 80s_ revisited.
Although I'm going to visit my parents in California, I will be going to some sightseeing stuff. And when I go, I'm not going to Hollywood Boulevard. I done did that shit. Going to a couple of iconic movie locations. So I will attempt to be sure, and over the process of making sure I get a good picture of it, and I picture my daughter in front of some of these iconic locations, to also take one to put on Instagram so you can see some of the famous movie sets or iconic locations from some films, including one from this franchise, Friday the 13th. If I can get to it, we'll send you some pictures of it. So follow us on there. Have a safe and wonderful new year. Thanks for sticking with us for another year. Happy holidays. Happy New Year, all that shit.
Happy Boxing Day.
Yeah, Boxing Day, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. Seems like I'm missing one.
probably missing a lot.
Yeah. Winter solstice.
There you go.
Whatever, all of them. That's why. Happy holidays. Covers them all.
Yeah.
So anyway, until next year, I will hopefully remain Trey Harris. Wait, you're pointing at me like did I forget something?
I was pointing at the camera.
Oh, sorry. I'll take it back. That was dumb. Let's do it again. So all until next year, I remain Trey Harris.
This is our Jesse Sedgley.
Cowabunga! Happy Merry New Year!
That's right, we in there.